podcast with John Kelly. John has been an insurance professional for a long time. John, how are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me, Max.
Oh, no problem. No problem. So we met working for the same place, actually, up there in the St. Louis Metro briefly, and you had come to that organization from Humana, which you were with Humana for, do I have it right? Was it 17 years you were with them?
Yes, sir. Just short of 18 years.
Wow. Okay. And how did you do the same role the entire time, or what did you actually do with them?
Well, I started with Humana back at the Part D expansion back in 2006 in telesales. So I worked in our call center for my first 21 months at Humana, and that was a really tough environment to work in, very heavily micromanaged, but it was also heavily regulated to make sure that people didn't make mistakes and misguide people. And then I transitioned in the spring of 2008 into a field agent up near the Villages, Florida, Villages, Ocala area, right by where I went to college, University of Florida, Go Gators. And I was able to be an agent there for about 2.5 years, making President's Club once. And with that, I learned how to actually work in the community a little bit, and as well as helping the clients face to face, because it's one thing helping them over the phone. It's another thing when you're sitting down at the kitchen table, and it's a whole different trust level that you're building with people. And then they promoted me to a market sales manager in November of 2010, where I served in that role in multiple different markets up until last year in the July of 2024. So yeah, it was almost 18 years, and I had 3 different roles within the organization.
Wow, and you did really well with them. I mean, I remember hearing about your successes, and you were a company guy for sure, and you did what you needed to do to grow. Sometimes there's people listening to this or watching this that are brand new in the insurance industry, and so what was the hardest part about leaving the captive world and kind of going out of that world before we get to your new business, but kind of leaving that captive world where you've been part of for so long?
Gotcha. So the hardest thing that we ran into, and it was a mental hurdle of, now that I've gone through the comfort of having all this done for me on the career side, I'm walking away from the benefit structure and their structure of having to do things, and now developing my own path on how to do things. So that was the hardest thing, is getting organized enough to be confident that I was going to succeed on the outside. And to your point, we did work with an organization that was fairly well organized, and it just reinforced to me that I knew what I was doing, and reinforced to you knew what you were doing, and we were doing the right thing to make sure that we weren't going to mislead or accidentally misrepresent anything, and to build trust, because that's a huge thing, is building that level of trust and confidence.
Would you advise somebody who's just going in? Let me interrupt myself. My son just took a job with Geico. Okay. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be on a similar path that you were, although Geico's different lines, but, and he's in his 20s. Would you advise somebody to maybe go with the carrier first or independent, or do you have an opinion on that?
Well, that's a fantastic question, because it also depends on the person's personality and what their goals are. So if someone is fresh from college and they don't know a lot about the corporate world, or just they haven't really worked in that industry at all, it's really, in my opinion, a good idea to go work for a carrier for a year or two, so you can see what their structure is and understand what their goals are and how they would align with your morals and your values. Mm-hmm. See, the thing about Humana is they had some really strong morals and values at helping people that I went along with amazingly, and I knew that not every year was going to be amazing. So that's the other thing that you have to remember when you're going to work for a captive carrier, is you're not going to have every year as a great year, because you are being given what you can work with, and you're being told the rates that you get to work with. You don't have a lot of freedom and flexibility in that. You can just have some creativity in what you're adding and not adding to help complete people's coverages. Mm-hmm. So if you're young and you don't have a lot of structure, going the career side for a year or two is not a bad idea. Or if you get connected to an organization that has come from our career side, like our previous organization and myself, we understand the structure and the balance that you need in order to succeed. It's just when you go to some organization that's never really had to have that word accountability to live up to, and they don't understand goals and deadlines, they may be a little bit too lackadaisical to be able to get things accomplished in a method that you're comfortable with.
Right. Right. I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you. I really do. And that's solid advice from an insurance professional like yourself. So now that you are fully independent and you have your own agency, is your approach to serving clients any different than it was, or what's changed for you now?
Well, yeah, in my last 14 years with Humana, I was in a leadership role where I had W-2s and 1099s. And the thing that I'm learning now, the biggest change is the balance. Because when you have W-2 employees that report to you and they have goals and metrics that are accountable every month, as opposed to being in the broker world, I need to make sure that I'm working for them at the pace that they want, as opposed to working at the corporate speed that my goal resets at 0 the first of every month. Not everybody has the same mentality of moving forward. Not everybody needs the same technology support. Not everybody has the same drive. So I'm just trying to cater my business capabilities to what their needs are, and then fill in the wants where we can in a timely fashion to make sure that we are the complete service agency for them, and we're not lacking in what they need.
Oh, excellent answer. And you know what I didn't do in the beginning is I know you as John because you were a coworker for a while.
Yeah.
I didn't even introduce your new insurance agency, man. We should probably do that. Obviously, the information will be in the footnotes of this, but go ahead and talk about your brand new operation.
Well, just in February, I started my business called the Gold Choice Insurance Advisors. We are a full service to Medicare and individual coverage as well as group coverage agents. We do not write business. All we do is we are the back office support. We are the marketing support for you. We do everything behind the scenes to make your operations run more efficiently with superior technology. Now, the thing about the superior technology is many people have access to Go High Level, but it is one of the most difficult things to learn how to use. And also going back to one of your questions, is one of the most important things that I've learned is if you're not learning, advancing, and changing and developing, you're falling behind every day that you're not advancing the cause and catching up with the technology. Because that's one of the things that I've noticed in the year that I've been gone from Humana sets the great brokerages apart from the average brokerages, is how much work they can take off your plate to free you up as an agent to either A, get more sales, or B, do more things that you want to do with that free time that you've earned by achieving a higher sales level. So the technology is going to be an amazing thing, and not all carriers are up to speed at the latest and greatest technologies, but we are, and that's what we're trying to push people forward through. And you don't have to learn the technology. We just can train you in probably 30 minutes to an hour to use what you need to use out of the technology, and we do everything else behind the scenes.
Right. And so are you familiar with a CRM called Agent CRM?
I have not heard Agents. I mean, I'm familiar with several others, but I haven't heard that one yet.
Okay, so that too is built on the high-level platform, like you and I were talking about.
Yep.
Agent CRM. You can go to agentcrm.com and check it out. But you're offering, and what I like about what you just said, anybody watching this, like Agent CRM is not saying that they're on the high-level platform, and you just put it out there. You're like, look, we are. But what's the name of your product that was built on that?
Oh, Alpha Insurance Marketing is the white label on the Go High Level. But the thing that we do behind the scenes is so many agents, they go into a brokerage and they want to be successful, but they don't realize that you have to have a digital footprint. So we help them build logos, banners. We help them build out their websites, get connected to Google pages, because without having some kind of rankings and without having some kind of online footprint, it's really hard for the young up-and-coming generations to have any level of trust in you. And when you're working in any business level, trust is one of the most valuable things that you can build to attach to your brand, because if you don't have a trustable brand, you literally have nothing going.
Agreed. And you and I, when we were working in that other role, we talked about having, you're referring to a Google business profile, by the way, but we talked about having Google business profiles for, agents at home. Yep. And, you knew some people who did that. The rules have changed. They're a little bit more stringent as far as how to verify.
Yep.
But you can still get it done. Like you've always maintained. You're like, look, you can do this and you should do this. And I think you knew a guy that was on the Illinois side of the St. Louis Metro, where it was just his picture, just an agent, and he used his home address. Yep. And he still pops up in his community when you type in Medicare. and he pops right up there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
several of them. And we test that in the different markets our agents in, just to show them that, hey, if people are searching for a Medicare agent, as people are moving and aging in, leaving their commercial insurance or leaving the Affordable Care Act and joining this, if you don't have a digital footprint, people aren't going to find you easily. Yeah, everybody wants to get the word of mouth stuff, but it's also nice to get those low hanging ones that people are just, they found you on the internet through a Google search.
right, and the goal would be to be in the local Pac 3. So, and you know this already, John, but for those watching, and I have quite a few videos on Google Business Profile on this particular channel, so you can go and check those out. But there are some things that you can do that won't spend you won't spend a lot of money, that you can do for yourself if you are a new agent, and you need to do. I've got a list of 5, and kind of a PDF to walk you through that as well. But there are things you can do for yourself. And then, you can go to a company like John, who can give you the back end support, and then provide you with the CRM. So that's all good stuff. That really is. So marketing now, the marketing mindset now, do you think it's shifted, from like when you got in the game back when? I mean, what are you mentioned Google, you mentioned digital footprint, something like direct mail, does that still work, do you think?
It does, but it has a limited efficiency right now, just because with Medicare having designed enrollment season, when you're doing a lot of marketing outside of the enrollment seasons, you're going to be operating at a loss. So your return on investment isn't going to be solid, especially if you don't have a good system to take those notes and to keep people in your pipeline to get ready for the enrollment seasons. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have something that's very organized doing the marketing right now, you'll be lucky to hit the 1% return on investment, which means an operating loss. But if you have a good system behind you, you can actually catch up to that during the AEP, the annual election period, and the OEP, the open enrollment period, which starts off in October. So direct mail has absolutely been horrible for a 6-month window once the seasons end, unless you have a way to capture that information and to make sure that you keep those people warm throughout the off season. The best methodology that I've ever had is just going out and talking to businesses and organizations and letting them know who you are and how you can be a resource to them, not just a sales agent. Because if you're just a sales agent, you don't have anything that separates you from the next person. If you're a resource and you can help people with a variety of different ways, getting connected to doctors, dentists, durable medical equipment, food pantries, places that you're becoming an expert in your community, those are the things that set you apart as an individual that people find endearing and trustworthy.
The agents that work with you or your particular agency, do you have recommendations if they're new, what they should do immediately and like a timeline laid out, that sort of thing?
Yeah, you'll chuckle at this. I actually finished our 60-day boot camp today. It's about a 7-week course that I do every Monday morning at 9 a.m. And anybody who's a newer agent, I recommend having a structured set to your week. That way you have a scheduled set amount of time that you're going to be going out and marketing, a scheduled amount of time that you're going to be looking at how you can learn new products, a scheduled amount of time that you can basically build and learn and develop yourself. Because if you're not investing in yourself, you're really losing the mark on what you should be investing as an individual business owner. So yeah, there's a specific way to be able to go through that. I do that for my team, and I want to make sure that anybody who joins understands that this is something that's an ongoing process. We do training every month for people. This past Wednesday, I just did a training on how people can work in the group space, because most people that are in the Medicare space and the individual space don't understand that the group space is not as difficult as you think it is. It's just like anything else, Max. It's new, so it's scary, and you don't know what you don't know. So a lot of people are afraid to commit that extra 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour of time each week to learn and develop in that. So what I've done is I've gotten partnered with another group to make sure that they can help bring those agents up and make them comfortable in that area.
Nice. Really, really nice. Well, before we wrap up here, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, you can go ahead and tell them. Obviously, we'll put it in the show notes here, and I'll link to your new website. If you want them to have your phone number, your business phone number, I can do that as well for you.
Sure.
How would people get in touch with you, John?
Sure. Simply just call me on my cell phone number. It's 217-720-3000, or just email me at John, John, at the GCIA. That's THEGCIA.com. That's my email address directly, and we'll be more than happy to have a conversation to find out if we can be a good fit for you.
Fantastic. Well, John, thank you so much for taking the time. Is there anything else you wanted to say to, somebody who might be watching in the business?
Well, as long as you are an honorable and trustworthy person, you're going to be able to last in our business. The funny thing that I've noticed is in the last, almost 19 years that I've been doing this, the people that are not afraid to get up and work hard, and this is going to sound crazy, from 9 o'clock to 3 or 4 o'clock, Monday through Thursday, are the ones that survive. The ones that sit on their couch and they wait for people to come to them, those are the ones that are usually gone within a year or two. And we do have about a 4 out of 5 turnover ratio in a 2-year window, just because you have to go out there and make it happen. It's not going to happen for you. And if you expect your upline to do everything for you, you're in the wrong industry. Ours is a job of making relationships and being of service to other people.
That's the clip right there.
Yeah.
That's the show promoter right there. Oh, and you just nailed it. And yes, you're right. It's going to sound crazy because I heard you say between 9 and 3 or 4 p.m. Then I heard you say Monday through Thursday. Like, listen, folks. Oh my gosh. For you people that are busting your butts 10, 12 hours a day to make 40, 50 grand a year, I mean, without getting into specific numbers, you just laid it out, John. You just said, this is the minimum that you have to do. And for somebody like me and somebody like you, that doesn't even sound like much at all, hours-wise,
No. I'm used to getting up and starting by about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I'm done when I'm done. Sometimes it's before I eat, sometimes it's after I eat. Right. I know I was on calls Friday until 4 o'clock, but it's not always like that. But once again, to be a successful agent, it's usually about a 24, 25-hour commitment, Monday through Thursday, and it's really not that hard. You just have to get out there and meet people.
I love it, man. I love it. I love how you sold that, and I know you're right. I already know since I've been in it way longer. You've been in it way longer than me, obviously, but I've witnessed the ones that kind of sit there and wait with different agencies, and the other ones who are really making a lot of money and providing a valuable service at the same time. So that's great. John, thank you so much. I hope to have you on again sometime if that's okay with you.
All right, Max, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, and I look forward to a good follow-up.